Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with a still hungover Cowboy Joe Boo. I don't know about you guys, but it has been a rough day today. Boy, I almost don't know what to say. Where do we go from here? I'd say Joe Boo needs a refill, but he is definitely too knocked the F out to need one. But you know what? I think I could use a refill. After a day like today, boy, I don't know how you guys felt, but I definitely felt like we have been here before way too many times. I've tried to think positive about Jason Garrett. I've tried to hope that Jason Garrett would be the answer, but in my mind, it's just not going to work. What I think the worst thing that may happen is the Cowboys turn it around enough to get into the playoffs, and they'll say, Jason Garrett faced adversity, and he turned that team around and got them into the playoffs. And we lose again early in the playoffs. There is actually hope because our division is not that good. I know the Eagles are 4-1, but let's be honest now. The teams that they beat only have 4 wins between them. You got the Giants, who are completely done, as one of the teams they beat, and they got the Chargers, another team that's got 1 victory. They got the Redskins, and so they are beatable regardless of what they're told, and the Cardinals they beat. But they play the Panthers on Thursday night. Lane Johnson, one of their best offensive linemen, has got a concussion. And then after that, they play the Skins, they play the 49ers, then they play the Broncos. Now, you know that's going to be a real deal game. And then we play them. So it's not out of the imagination that we can beat them. But what kills me is the records that we keep breaking with the Dallas Cowboys. Jason Garrett probably has more records and things than anybody else because now the Dallas Cowboys are the first team to score 30 points at home 2 weeks in a row and lose. The worst part about it to me is Jason Garrett doesn't even own up to his own shit. We can lose a game, and he'll blame, we try and get some stops there and hope that we can, get them. But Aaron Rodgers is such a great quarterback. But you know what? Some of you will disagree with me, but we have a great quarterback on our sideline who took 8 minutes off the clock for what should have been a game-winning drive again in Dak Prescott. There's been some guys out there that have been saying that Dak Prescott is not the one. He's the reason why we lost this. He's missed some passes. He had an interception. Well, you can call it an interception. They may need to come up with another category for interception because you have interceptions where the guy literally throws it to the defender, and then you have ones that are hit by the receiver and get kicked up like Terrence Williams did. You can't put that on Dak Prescott, that interception. It was deflected and caught. But if you want to, go ahead. But in Dak Prescott's young career, it's kind of amazing how he plays against the Green Bay Packers. First game last year, 247 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a fumble, but a 117 QBR. Hey, 3 touchdowns any game is good for a quarterback. In the playoffs, after being down 21-3, ended up 303 yards, 3 touchdown passes, 1 interception, 103 QBR. And had it been that we hadn't left too much time on the clock for Aaron Rodgers, we would have won that game. And who knows, maybe we would have ended up in the Super Bowl. And even yesterday, where guys say Dak Prescott sucks, 251 yards, 3 touchdown passes, 1 interception for a 105.2 rating. Oh, and he ran it for a touchdown as well. That's 4 touchdowns. Over the last 3 games, he has had 8 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, and 2 rushing touchdowns. 64.4% completions. You should be winning with those kinds of numbers. We got problems. I'll admit it. Our defense is letting me down. My black sheep are definitely black sheep. A lot of that's been injuries. Losing Hitchens in training camp, losing Sean Lee the last 2 weeks truly has made a difference. Jalen Smith. Love him. Love his attitude. Love the fight in him. But he is a liability. And teams know to pick on Jalen Smith. You run the ball right at him. And running backs are taught, run right at Jalen Smith and then cut. He can't cut with you. Or you throw the ball at him, quick hitters. Because he's on one leg. He can't plant and drive. He gets blown up at the point of attack, and he can't push off enough to take on the lineman. He has to basically wait to make the tackles. And we can't do that. It's not that kind of defense. Another problem we have is, I won't say that the Tampa 2 defense won't work, but you got to have the right personnel for it. And I think we're still trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. And what you have to do in football is, you can't have everything perfect the way you want it. You can't have all the guys that you want to have for that perfect defense, at least not right away. What you have to do is you have to adapt to what you have. I hate to use this as an example, but Joe Gibbs is the perfect example of changing exactly what you have for a team. He came from the San Diego Chargers, Air Coryell, and I know a lot of you guys have no idea what I'm talking about. But before the Rams were the greatest show on turf, the San Diego Chargers with Dan Fouts was Air Coryell. They threw the ball crazy. I mean, it was just bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb. And it was a thing of beauty. And that was back before passing was big. But when Joe Gibbs got to the Redskins and he started out at first trying to do that passing game, and he realized, I don't have the horses that I need. I got John Riggins, who's a ground him out running back. I got some big offensive linemen. He changed up what his philosophy was to fit his personnel. And now he's got 3 Super Bowl rings, and he's in the Hall of Fame. That's what a good coach does. He figures out, what can I do with what I've got? You're going to lose players. You've got to adapt. You're not always going to have, 22 guys that are all pros. So you figure out, what can I do with this guy to put me in a position to win? How can I call a game plan that's going to help me win? That's the problem with our coach, to me. Jason Garrett can't adapt. He goes in with one game plan, and either it's going to work to perfection or we're screwed. And if it gets to be crunch time and the game's on the line and everything is literally this close, sorry, you can't bet on Jason Garrett making the right calls. We always have clock management problems. We always have second half adjustment problems. We always have pissing down your leg problems. I wanted Jason Garrett to work. I wanted him to be the next Tom Landry. I wanted to see him holding up and Lombardi Trophy with Jerry Jones out there. But it's painfully clear it ain't going to happen. So I'm wondering, how do you guys feel right now after we've gone through this terrible, terrible game? Sandman, you just hit the nail on the head. That no matter what Dak Prescott does, he's the worst quarterback ever. Ben Roethlisberger can go out yesterday and throw 5 interceptions, and I don't hear people talking about how bad Ben Roethlisberger is and how he sucks and needs to get out of there. Dak Prescott has been here. Here's what's amazing. Dak Prescott has got 12 games of over 100 QBR. It's pretty good for a guy that's only played in, 21 games? Over half of them have been over 100 QBR. Excuse me, more than half of them. Yesterday was the first time that he went over 100 and they lost. So he's 12-1 with 100 QBR or better. Think back to some of the stiffs we've had, even in recent time. Matt Castle, Brandon Weeden. You think those guys would have won against Aaron Rodgers? Or last year? Think we've been 13-3? I don't know. Thomas. Jeff Heath. Oh, Lordy. I said last week, please, just start Xavier Woods. If Xavier Woods gets burned to play, I'm okay, because Xavier Woods will make some plays. Jeff Heath, I'm sorry. He just looks so slow and so lost out there. Byron Jones, I think, would actually be a better corner, and we definitely need a safety. We have definitely got to focus on the defense again next year in the draft. Now, I will say that I believe that Jordan Lewis is going to be a baller. Jordan Lewis is showing a lot of promise. Anthony Brown has kind of stepped back a little bit. But right now, we don't have too many linebackers. We got Hitchens, who didn't look bad coming back the first day, but you need Sean Lee, without a doubt. Sean Lee is the driver. People are quick to blame Dak. Yeah. Chris, you are 100% right that Dak has been carrying the team, because you cannot say that Zeke Elliott is. Yesterday was the first game that Zeke Elliott had went over for 100 yards, and he ended up getting 86 of that in the fourth quarter. So it hasn't been the running game it's been doing. It hasn't been the offensive line. And it certainly has not been the defense. And the defense, oh my God. We haven't had a turnover in the last 3 games. If you want to say there's any other bigger problem or excuse why we're not winning, it's that one. If you cannot get the ball from the opponent a couple of times a game, it makes it that much harder. And for whatever reason, we are not causing fumbles. We are not getting interceptions. We are not getting the damn ball. And it just takes us to have one turnover that shifts the balance of these games. Game changer, Daryl Washington, anyone. Well, but see, Daryl Washington, here's the problem with game changer. Daryl Washington is actually an outside linebacker, i.e. a pass rusher. We're actually going to have see if we get this in here. We got PJ Dunn. PJ is actually a big Dallas Cowboy fan from Dallas. Let me get the TV on here. I met him actually at Dallas at the Star during the Super Bowl, or after the Super Bowl last year. And he invited him on here to talk about the Dallas Cowboys as well and to share in the misery. And I'll have him on here as soon as I get the TV on. I forgot to turn the TV on, so forgive me. It's been a rough day. And we'll get to that in just a second here. TV warms up. Damn, you would think this is like an old-ass TV taking this long. Well, we actually were the team that forced turnovers in 2014. We actually were really good at that. Believe it or not, we were second in the NFL. 2015, I don't know what happened. Just didn't happen. Last year it didn't happen very much, and this year it's getting abysmal. PJ, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, and I mean, for as well as I could be after what I witnessed yesterday.
Man, that hurt. I mean, that hurt me so bad. to We went in halftime doing well. In the back of my mind, I didn't want to say it. I said, we're going to lose this. Because I
Yes.
knew what we have always gone through with freaking Aaron Rodgers. And as we're marching down the field, honestly, I didn't think we were going to have a chance because I thought that Zeke didn't get the first down, but he got that first down running. And we finally started getting some things going. And I said, okay, maybe Jason Garrett's learned from last year that we can't leave any time on the clock.
And he actually didn't. And you know what I noticed, Mark, as I was thinking about it, was that this was the difference between last year and this year
Mm-hmm.
is that when it came down to one-score games, we pulled them out and won them last year, i.e. the Vikings game,
Yeah.
one of the Redskins games, the Eagles game, and the Steelers game.
Yeah.
This year we can't seem to win those close games when it's about within one score, and it's killing me.
Well, literally, we're only like 3 minutes away from being, 3-1, or excuse me, 4-1. It's two games that we could have definitely won, but clock management and to me, play calling is terrible.
Absolutely.
I'll be honest. I am tired of Jason Garrett. I just want to throw up every time I see him on the sidelines clapping. It just makes me sick to my stomach.
I don't understand how he can keep his job for this long. I mean, haven't we gotten rid of other coaches real quickly for this kind of stuff, like Dave Campo, Chan Gailey, Wade Phillips? We got rid of these people. But
Jimmy Johnson, okay. Listen, Jimmy Johnson won 2 Super Bowls and he got rid of him. So it's like, what is it that I don't understand? It's like, what is it that Jason? We keep waiting. And the thing that kills me, and I know you Romo fans out there will be happy as crap when I say this. And I've said it all along, even though you guys said I just hate Tony Romo. I don't hate Tony Romo. Tony Romo's time had been up. His body had failed him. He couldn't stay healthy, and you couldn't depend on him. But right now,
he'd have been killed out there. The stuff that Dak has to do right now because of our quote unquote best offensive line
right now,
in football
it's
now, I
good
don't
that he's
believe
built
that.
like a linebacker right now.
That's right.
The fact of the matter is, right now we're doing him just like we did Tony Romo.
Yep.
You can't
Absolutely.
waste these guys. You look at J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt can't stay healthy. You feel bad for him breaking his leg again. Going to miss a whole nother season. But you don't know how much time you have with these guys, and there needs to be a sense of urgency. Everybody keeps saying it at the end of last year, the year before, they kept saying, oh, just give Jason Garrett another year. He'll get it next year. It's like, how many freaking years do we have to keep wasting to hope that he's going to be the guy?
Well, yeah, and then he's supposed to be from Princeton or wherever, and it's kind of like when he gets into high stress situations, calling that clock management, everyone, he seems to just blank out for a moment, and I don't know who's calling it. And then I heard today on the radio that it was a read option play, and I'm thinking, why would you give the guy who's only played 20 games, started 20 games, that kind of an option in a game like this where you're already at home, you've already lost to the same component, and we all know Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he doesn't make that many mistakes. He doesn't, and then he almost, and I hated how he was so amped up and the way he acted after he got him down the field. Sure, it was great, but the way he was just so arrogant and putting up his guns and doing all this craziness, I was like, we let him do that.
But here's the crazy thing, though. In all 3 games, Dak Prescott stats have been better.
Yep.
All 3 games, Dak Prescott outplayed Aaron Rodgers, but the coaching staff let him down, in my mind. And I'm afraid that we keep doing this stuff. We're going to end up wasting Zeke Elliott. We're going to waste Dak Prescott because, running backs, they have a short window now. You don't have Emmitt Smiths that are there 30 plus years old and things like that. You look at how quick Chris Johnson went downhill. You don't know how long you have with Zeke Elliott. You don't know with Tyron Smith with his back flaring up. It's getting to be a chronic thing where it could be a J.J. Watt situation where he's only going to be able to play a couple of games a season. And clearly he is not the same guy that he normally is. He's not throwing.
Right.
He's not throwing
And
people around like he was.
yeah, and the sad part about it too is seeing Witten and somebody like Sean Lee possibly never ever getting a Super Bowl ring, and that's criminal.
And when you look at the Rams were 4-12 last year with Jeff Fisher, who was an old guard, experienced coach that had been there for years and everything else. Couldn't get Jared Goff to even look like an NFL quarterback. Had basically the same players, and here you got a rookie coach, 31 years old, from the Redskins, who's come from all places, that has come in and changed the whole attitude of that team, and all of a sudden gets him one. Buffalo Bills, it's the same thing, and yet here it is, we're losing to rookie coaches with Jason Garrett.
Yeah, this is the year after Jason Garrett gets Coach of the Year. How about that?
And that's the thing, and see, that's where some uneducated football fans, kept saying to me last year. I kept saying, Jason Garrett needs to go last year. They're like, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. Jason Garrett was Coach of the Year. How can you talk about getting rid of him? I said, because we went into the playoffs with home field advantage, with Rookie of the Year, the best offensive line in football, that was literally throwing people around. NFL rushing champ, a defense that was top 5 in scoring, playing against a depleted team in Aaron Rodgers, who, Jordy Nelson had his spleen ripped out. Okay, he didn't, the best receiver didn't even play. We knocked out the running back, in the early part of the season, and we let them come to our house as the number 1 seed and lose that game. And I'm like, that's why he should be let go.
Yes.
No, he's Coach of the Year. Jason Garrett, he's a good coach. He's a Princeton graduate. He knows what he's doing. Man, get out of here with that stuff, man.
I think this was the first game I ever saw him when he was talking to the referees, kind of trying to dispute a call. This is the first time I've ever seen him get passionate, was during that one part of the game. I was like, what? Oh, my God, I can't believe it. But let me tell you, I definitely love Jordan Lewis, man. I love seeing that even though he gave up that touchdown, I love how he took that helmet off, and he was pissed off about it. I'm tired of seeing people just acting like no big deal when they lose a game like this at home 2 times in a row. That's unthinkable. You can't do that. And I'm also upset with Jalen Smith. I'm going to say it. Let me just go ahead and break the spades on it.
Okay.
But Jalen Smith,
liability.
He's a good guy. But I'm here to tell you, he missed way too many tackles, and I don't think he can physically perform this role. He cannot.
PJ, I've been saying that for a couple of weeks of things because what I've noticed, and a lot of times people just follow the ball, but if you go ahead, like for DVR, if you have a DVR a game, and go back and watch it, and what you do is look at a certain player and watch what they do. On one play, he's trying to get into the hole, and he gets to the hole, but he literally has to wait on the running back to come to him. He doesn't have the agility with that foot yet to be able to drive to the play and meet him with force on force. He's getting a lot of tackles, but it's mainly because I'm standing here breaking down, just waiting for the tackle. He can't get aggressive. If he's got an offensive lineman that's coming off of him, he doesn't have the strength to be able to shed them or to get past their face. And pass coverage, teams know quick routes right in front of him because he cannot cut and drop back and cover a guy. So, unfortunately, he is a liability, and people are like, "What are you talking about? He leads the team in tackles." Yeah, but the problem is you're leading a team of tackles that are 5 yards downfield that could have been at the line of scrimmage.
That's right.
And see
I'm scared for him. I'm scared for him.
That's true.
I really am. Mark, I'm really scared for him because I don't want him to get in a situation where he finally does trust planting hard on that knee and cutting, and then have it pop or go out. I don't want to see that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, honestly, that could happen to anybody. But a lot of you might not realize. Shout out, there's Jackie and Sarah. Thanks for joining tonight. Of course, Daniel, he's here. Of course, I'm surprised, Daniel, you're here with as bad as your team is. I mean, I guess you guys are happy because you're gonna probably get the number 1 pick since you don't have any wide receivers. I mean,
what's up, gang?
Jeez, you guys, I feel bad for you. I really even felt bad about Odell on the field crying a couple of times yesterday. But shout out to Odell Beckham for the foot. But have they won a game since he went on that boat ride with Justin Bieber? Oh, okay. I just checking. Just checking. So we all know, stay away from Justin Bieber, okay? But what people don't realize, though, is defense is not made for the defensive lineman, per se, to make the tackles. The defense is made for the defensive line to keep the linebackers clean so the linebackers can scrape, fill in the holes, and go to the running backs. And that's what the defensive linemen are doing. They're tying up the offensive linemen, and the linebackers need to be flying with force to be able to tackle the guy and meet him in the hole. He can't do that. He
Yeah, and
cannot
a
do
couple times
that.
he took on some guards, and I'm like, there's no way
He
that
can't.
guard should be touching you and putting
And
hands on you. You
that's
don't
why
lose that
that's why
time in one play.
Gurley literally just ran right past him every single time. So yeah, I'm happy that Hitchens is back. Hopefully, here's at least a good thing. The one thing for me, at least, that I will take away and feel at least a little bit better about is we have this bye week.
Mm.
We've got some time to be thinking about, hey, we got to get our shit together, or else this season is over. Because basically, I think we got to go 8-3.
Yeah, I think you're
to
right.
make the playoffs, and we've got some tough games in front of us. But I hope that we have some time for Sean Lee to get another week extra to get that hamstring right for a stretch run. Let Hitchens get some time in there and do some work. My boy David Irving to get his win back. And David Irving, you got to be happy about David Irving and a Tyrone Crawford sighting, okay?
Yes.
So now all of a sudden you've got a defensive line that is, getting some pressure, getting some sacks, and can get better. Feel good about that. And guys, stop talking about Taco that he's a bust. He only played 9 plays yesterday, okay? Right now, when you've got other guys that are sacking better than we've had in the past, it's hard for a rookie to get on the field. So give the guy a break.
Yes.
So I'm hoping.
No, I'm totally with you. And as I was kind of leaking out earlier, I'm really excited with Jordan Lewis. I mean, he made some command plays. Sure, he got beat on the one touchdown, but he was able to knock some balls down without even turning his head around a couple of times. His instinct and his tackling it's really good for a rookie. I mean, it's even better. And the way he grades out is really nice. And I'm hoping that we can see something from Cheeto once he gets that hamstring worked out, because it'd be nice. You want to take this on now while you're playing up against really good teams, because if you can stick with really good teams, that'll give you confidence when you're playing, the crap teams.
Yeah.
Like the Giants, who have to play again.
Right. Well, and then here's the thing. So we come out of the bye week. We got the 49ers. All of a sudden, we get back to 500. We then have the Redskins, of course, which is always a dogfight. But, I've been to FedEx the last 3 years, and we have owned them at FedEx. And even though the games have been close and games we should have lost, somehow, some way, we seem to find a way to win. So if we win that one, all of a sudden we're 4-3. We're in a better position. Now, when I look at the Eagles, and everybody's got them as the greatest team since the '85 Bears, but again, they beat the Redskins, they beat the Chargers, who beat the Giants, and they beat the Giants, and they beat the Cardinals. So you haven't exactly played a lot of quality teams. They've got a lot of dogs on their schedule, but they play the Panthers on Thursday, and I'm going to put the advantage to the Panthers because Lane Johnson has a concussion. So that's going to hurt. And, Carson Wentz has been getting hit quite a bit, and that Panther defense is no joke. So Carson Wentz might not make it through that game. But then they've got the Skins, the 49ers, and then the Broncos, and then us. So all of a sudden, in the next 6 weeks, things could be looking a whole lot different than they were. But we have to start taking care of business.
Didn't they start off fast last year, though, Mark? Weren't they 4-1 this time last year real fast?
Yeah.
Weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody thought they had the greatest defense and everything and all that.
Yeah, and then it went down the toilet. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with them. And I'm on the fence. You tell me. Here's my biggest worry.
All right.
The Cowboys turn it around. We make the playoffs after everything looks so bleak. And then all of a sudden everybody says Jason Garrett did another great job and got him into the playoffs. And we turn around and lose again. And then
I don't want to see that.
And we keep Jason Garrett.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what that means, though? Probably to try to make everything seem okay, they may maybe let Marinelli go or Shanahan. Somebody will have to take a fall. Somebody will have to be cut or let go or something if they can work a deal. But I just don't know. But for whatever reason, it seems like Jason Garrett, Red Jesus, has immunity. I mean, he can almost do anything, and get away with it.
Although I will say this though, I think that Jerry is thinking now. If you remember last week after the Rams won, he kept praising Wade Phillips about how good of a coaching job he was the best coach on the field and everything. And then yesterday he was talking about clock management stuff. So I think in his mind that Jerry Jones, maybe he's finally kind of waking up and saying, you know what, maybe he's not the guy. That's my only hope.
Yeah.
That or that Stephen Jones finally says, Dad, sit in the corner. Jason's gone.
Yeah.
Because we have got to do something different.
No, you're right, because like right now, when you look at our schedule going forward, we're going to have some more of these games that are probably going to be decided by one score again. And if we do another one of these after Dak and the offense puts up 400 yards of offense total, which is still more than what Green Bay put up, and if you keep losing when you're winning in 5 of the major categories in terms of passing, yards, time of possession, and everything else, then that has to put the handwriting on the wall. For Jones, he has to see that because at this point, I don't know. At best, we go 10-6, and I'm really hoping that maybe we can do something like that. But it could very easily be a 9-7 year, and I don't want to see that. And none of us do actually.
Well, if we happen to get hot and make a run to the Super Bowl, okay, I'll be okay with that. But I'm afraid that'll be what happens, and we end up keeping Jason Garrett again. I don't know. But, Matt, I'm glad you finally made it, man. I'm sorry you're half an hour late, but, hey, better late than never. Thanks for joining in here tonight. Trade deal, I'm with you, man. I'm tired of people blaming the quarterback as well. It's ridiculous that you're going to blame a guy that got 3 touchdown passes. Most teams would be ecstatic if they were getting what they were getting out of Dak Prescott. Sarah, how are you doing tonight?
That's absolutely right, man. I don't get that. But you know what bothers me though, Mark?
What's that?
It's starting to get me is Ezekiel Elliott's comments after the game. He's saying things like, well, you don't want to peak too early, and it'll be okay. And he's got that JG line down too well. And I'm like, wait a minute, young buck. It's not guaranteed that you guys are going to turn all this around. If that defense keeps giving up 400 yards worth of offense, you can't be sitting there and taking it like, you don't want to peak too early.
I got to tell you, watching that game yesterday, he had a fantastic fourth quarter, 86 yards. It seemed like he got it together. But the first 3 quarters, I kept looking at him, and he looks like he is really hesitating to the holes. Now, the holes aren't as big as they were last year. Last year, hell, I think I could have picked up 3 or 4 yards in some of those because the holes were big. But he's having to make moves, but it doesn't look like he's hitting the holes with any authority like he did last year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that is... And I don't know if that is...
I don't remember that last year.
And I'm wondering if that's because the NFL has just played with his head so much that he's just literally just screwed up or what. But he is not the same back. And for all those people last year that were saying that, who's more important, Zeke Elliott or Dak Prescott, Dak Prescott just had to show up. I'm going to tell you, Dak Prescott has literally put this team on his back and is trying to will them to win. And I can't say he's honestly gotten a lot from Zeke to help him out with that. This is the first game Zeke's had over 100 yards this season.
I agree. And actually, isn't this Dak's best game statistically as well, and his highest QBR, I believe, in this game compared to, I guess, out of all the games this year. So
this year, he had. Well, I was going to say he had a 117 against Green Bay's first game last year with 3 touchdowns. But yeah, this year that's statistically his best game, and it's all been without a running game. And the thing that's amazing about Dak Prescott is how he's able to roll out, and that's where they need to do it more, is to roll out and keep his eyes laser focused and even throw across the green. It's not the thing you want to do because, it's a high risk thing and you usually cannot get enough velocity on the ball because you're falling away from it. But his body, his arm and stuff is strong enough. And he is literally, people don't realize this, but he's literally built like a linebacker. And you see him being able to take these hits and be able to duck under and be strong enough to go ahead and bowl them off of him. But you can't do that forever. Your body can only take that for so long. And we saw how Tony Romo's body was to the point where every time he got a hit, he was knocked out.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. And again, I think it's a very big concern of mine to see that this line, I don't know if you noticed as well that Chaz Green obviously wasn't in that lineup and you had Cooper in there.
Yeah.
he was getting owned on several plays,
Right.
and I was sitting back going, man, this guy, Dak's going to have to run for his life on most of these. Good thing he's mobile, and good thing he can throw that ball down the field with authority like he did. But like you said, that's going to catch up with him to him eventually. And that's what I'm a little concerned about. How long can Dak keep that up without getting him hurt? And then what do you want now? Who are you going to have in there playing now? Cooper Rush, I guess? I mean, and I hear people calling for him. And I'm like, that's not a good idea.
I was going to say, I actually have had some people saying that, well, we need to bench Dak Prescott and place Cooper Rush. And I'm like, what? It's like, do you guys understand football at all? I mean, I know the backup quarterback is always the most popular one, but listen, Dak has had 64.4% completions over the last 3 games, almost 700 yards, 8 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, and 2 rushing touchdowns. And you want to start Cooper Rush?
It makes no sense.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
What do you think about that play call on 2nd and 2, the infamous 2nd and 2 play call? Were you okay with that? What did you think?
You must not have been watching my channel. I'm sorry. Second and 1. It's like Jason Garrett said last week, we watched the film. If you watch the film, the one thing you should take away is we can't leave Aaron Rodgers any time on the clock with a 1-score game. If you didn't take anything else, that should have been the thing that you should have remembered.
Yeah.
Because for the way we were running down the field, taking that time, and people will say, oh, but you took off 8 minutes of the clock, He did a great job. No, you didn't, okay? Because here's the thing. If you had run for the first down, you still had 2 timeouts. You could have taken 40 seconds off the clock. 40 seconds off the clock. And still have those timeouts to go ahead and make your plays and your calls if you needed them.
Yeah.
But instead,
no, you were right.
You throw the ball, you stop the clock, and then Dak goes in for it. So everybody says, oh, well, Dak should have dropped at the 1-yard line. Okay. All right. So if you say that, then you should also say then you should have not have thrown the ball in there. It's the same thing we did Green Bay last time. We got down there, first down. We ended up spiking the ball on first down. Second down, we do a 5-yard out to Cole Beasley. And then third down, we throw the ball and it's an incompletion. We kick the field goal and we leave time on the clock, 39 seconds. Aaron Rodgers goes out, kicks the field goal, and beats us. It's the same thing that keeps repeating ourselves. I did a video basically saying, Jerry Jones, we need to have an intervention, okay? Because I started going through some of the crazy ways we've lost between icing our own kicker, between being up 26-3 against Green Bay, not with Aaron Rodgers, mind you, Matt Flynn, and throwing the ball more in the second half than Green Bay trying to catch up with us. Think about that. Listen, if you had just run 3 plays and punted, every time you had the ball, you would have taken off 3 minutes off the clock. Flat out.
That's right.
Because the clock keeps running when you run the ball. You have 3 incompletions, you're only taking off 15 seconds. They would not have had enough time to come back. We've had 2 games against the Lions where we were up by 21 points and throw interceptions and lose the games in the end. And there's game after game after game after game. All the 8-8s where we were basically one step away from the playoffs. Win and you're in. It was really a playoff game. We lost them. There's nothing out there that says Jason Garrett gives me hope that if the shit is on the line, that we're going to be able to do it.
That's right. That's right. And see, they've been debating it down here in Dallas all day, talking about how they were saying that, well, what if you don't go for the touchdown there? Even if you throw it, they call a timeout, whatever, you still don't stop everything. But they kept saying things like, yeah, but what if you don't take the touchdown there? What if you fumble? What if you fumble the snap? Or what if you get a penalty like Frederick has gotten for holding and it puts you back 10 yards? And I'm like, yeah, but you could say the same thing about the decision to throw on 2nd and 2. What if it gets picked? What if somebody bats the ball down? It still stops the clock. And the idea was we don't need to stop the clock at all right there. So, it was very interesting today to hear how many people were trying to say, yeah, but this would have happened. What if that would have happened? And if you didn't take the points, you would look really foolish if you didn't take the touchdown. And I'm like, well, here's the thing.
Right.
If we hadn't gone for fourth down 3 different times in the game, then maybe you're right. But if you've got the balls to go for it on 4th and 1 on 3 different occasions, why not here?
Yeah.
Why not here? You know?
But, it's everybody can be a Monday morning quarterback now on it. And unfortunately, it's done and it's over. There's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is go from here forward. I've been saying, my new saying is, we've got 99 problems, but Dak ain't one.
That's
okay. I'm sorry. Your quarterback is doing enough to win. In the NFL, if you score 30 points, you should be able to win. We've got some injuries on our defense, and I'm not sold so much on our Tampa 2 bend don't break defense.
No.
We're giving guys unmolested off of the line of scrimmage, and teams are just doing quick hitting slants, quick hitting out routes because they know they're getting such a cushion. If I hit him right now, he's wide open. And until we start changing that stuff up, we're going to continue to see the same stuff on defense. I think we need to get Rod Martinelli out of the dinosaur age. When a guy starts using dinosaur references, it really tells you how old he is. And I love the guy.
Well, you're right. And,
listen, I love Rod Martinelli because, he's taken guys that are nobodies and made them into pass rushers and they got paid going elsewhere. But it's just the defense just is not getting there.
No. And it's amazing. Sean Lee now has a lot of bargaining power when he goes to re-sign his contract after them showing him what he's done already, what they look like without him. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, they can run and pass on this defense right now. And that's scary. What is it? The last 2 games, 2 teams scored over 35 points, over 30 points.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to ask you something that I probably shouldn't because this is like radioactive, to even touch this subject. But what do you think about Jerry Jones and the whole, protest situation? I'm sitting here thinking, his quote was, "My job is to the Dallas Cowboys first. It's best interest in the best interest of the Dallas Cowboys." And I said, stop right there. Then why are we not dealing with our coaching situation? If your best interests are the Dallas Cowboys, why are you not talking about Jason Garrett screwing up and throwing people under the bus and never accepting responsibility?
Yeah. See, I don't like this idea. It's positioning and posturing, which means that tells me some politicking is about to happen. That's the wink, wink, virtual signal call whenever you hear that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Jerry, leave that alone because it's almost like saying, hey, I don't want you to know what's going on over here while I kind of make you look over here. To me, he should be talking like, why haven't we talked about Elliott? Like, what's going to happen? Is he going to be able to play? I mean, we know that it's locked up, the appeal and all that, but we still don't even know if that's going to go through. And it seems like if you're going to talk about anything, why not talk about something that pertains to the game itself?
Yeah.
Rather than,
Well.
So I don't think it's a good look. I think the optics are bad on that. For him to bring that back up at the end of the game is him not letting it go.
Yeah, after we just lost the game that we did. It's kind of like the whole thing is diversion. Jackie. No, Jackie, Sean Lee was out in Denver. He was not there. And that made all the difference in the world because, again, basically we were playing without a linebacker in the middle because, Jalen Smith is not quite there. And that will at least get better. Eli has more interceptions this year than Dak. I bet Eli's had more interceptions in one game than Dak has. I mean, Eli Manning is just, I think he was crying on the sidelines yesterday. I mean, I almost feel bad for Eli Manning. But then again, the way you trolls, we can't find him anymore, were after me mercilessly, basically telling me I'm an idiot and how good they were. You guys are getting exactly what you reaping what you sowed. So, although I can't agree with you, Daniel, Jerry Jones is a moron.
Isn't Shepard down too as well?
Shepard's down. Dwayne Harris is down. Brandon Marshall's going to be out for a few weeks. And, I mean, literally, you got no running backs, and now you got no receivers. And you got no offensive line. So, yeah, there's that. So, Cowboy
Isn't
fans.
this payback for him for Eli writing inside the locker room when they won a couple of games against us back in the day? I think
Yep,
this is kind of payback.
maybe it is, man. Maybe it is. Anybody else see Cooper Rush in garbage time? Okay, we haven't had an opportunity to have any garbage time, guys. What's the record of the teams that the Eagles beat? The Cardinals are 2-3. The Redskins are 2-2. The Giants are 0-5. The Chargers are 1-4.
That's
so
right.
yeah, they haven't beat anybody quality as of yet.
No.
Michael Lewis, yeah, Dak inherited Romo's criticism. Well, I hate to say it, but some Cowboy fans, no matter what, if we're not 16-0 and beating people 40-0, then the Cowboys suck in their mind.
Bandwagoners.
Yeah. Well, Jackie, I can't use that term anymore because ESPN has actually made it dirty now. Dumpster fire. So now the new term is hot garbage. Okay, no more dumpster fire. Okay, I'm starting a new trend. Hot garbage. Remember that it's hot garbage. Okay, we'll see how long before ESPN takes that one from me.
Got you down.
When will the Eagles win a Super Bowl? Oh boy, I'll tell you, never. Oh man, don't jinx it now. Knock on wood. I have to agree with you. You know what? I have to admit that I was wrong about Butler because I was not a big fan of Butler going into this season after last year. But Butler has actually been playing a whole lot better than Terrence Williams. Terrence Williams is a body catcher, and he just does not have the hands. And unfortunately, that pass, boom, went through there. Although, I will say this. I said to my son when they got that interception and it went into the touchdown, it went in for a touchdown, I said, that's not the worst thing that happened in the world. I said, because we're better off that score happened quickly. That leaves us enough time to go down and score and hopefully be the last score. You remember me saying that, Michael? Okay,
yeah.
He's got headphones on. But, it's like, okay, so we're down by 4. We can drive down, score a touchdown, and hopefully kill the clock. And unfortunately, we scored the touchdown. We just didn't kill the clock.
That's right. Hey, Mark, something else that's also interesting in the Cowboy-Packers games is the officiating. Have you noticed? Every time we play, there's always some really weird, wonky calls that start happening in the game. And on both sides. I mean, I thought that Dez play when he didn't catch it and they called it on the linebacker, I was willing to take that.
Yeah.
But I knew that wasn't what they were calling.
We did finally get one our way, though. That one on Dez in the end zone was definitely, one that was like, okay, we got one there. Thank you. Maybe the guys are finally looking out on us. Sandman, they did jack that one too. You're right. I say if they play it. I wouldn't mind having a Bill Collier here. I wouldn't mind having a Sean Payton here because I think Sean Payton, one, he still has his family here in Dallas, and to me, coaches get stale. After about 5 or 6 years, you almost need to change just for change's sake. And I think New Orleans is ready to make that change. That they've had the great offense and everything else. Defense has worked out. They got the Super Bowl, but it's time to really start over and rebuild that with a new coach. Drew Brees is getting up there in age, and he doesn't have that much time left. And that's where I think that Sean Payton may be out this year. I wouldn't mind seeing him coming back. How about you?
I like it. I think he'd be a perfect player for us to slide into that system, and I think we need that. We need some stability to here with these young pups.
Who else would you like to see here as far as on the Dallas Cowboys if you had a dream coach that you could bring in?
Dream coach? Wow. I guess it's not really a dream, but I don't know. I wonder what, and it's going to sound crazy, but maybe as defensive coordinator, if Marinelli can't seem to turn it around, and I know it's not mostly him, he's dealing with the hand he's dealt with, but I wonder if there was a way if Marvin Lewis came down here and was our defensive coordinator for a while. I know that sounds crazy because of where he's at, but on the defensive side of the ball, his schemes, I think, actually work better. He doesn't have some of the best equipment either up there. So I'm just curious as to what would happen.
For defensive coordinator? Okay, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him as a defensive coordinator because he was great as a defensive coordinator. But I'm not sure I'd want to.
I'd like to see Jimmy back. I mean, if I had
Oh my
my
God.
dream would be having Jimmy back. Right?
I said this before.
Here's why it would work. Because this team is younger. And remember when Jimmy was taking over the Dallas Cowboys back in the 90s, as everybody remembers, it was a younger team. And so he was able to get inside their heads with all that psychology that he does. And he was able to get them to believe, even beyond their own beliefs, that they could do it, right? 3-inch bold letters. We will win the game before the game with the 49ers. So I think Jimmy's a great coach.
And he held guys accountable.
That would be my dream coach right there. I know it's not going to happen, but
well, and for me, Jerry Jones likes the limelight and everything like that. It would literally break the internet if he brought Jimmy Johnson back. I swear it would have everybody on every single game just to see if something would happen between the two of them. I would love to see that. Even though he's been out of coaching for a long time, he's a little bit up there in age. But I tell you what, I'd take him over Red Jesus anytime.
Absolutely. And, Marinelli is old, so I don't think Jimmy is quite as old as Marinelli. So I think he could do it. I think he could put the fear, that cowboy pride back into those boys, because I think that's what they need.
Hung Eagles. Mark is a fool. He would rather have Dak throw a pick six and go down the field and score. Rodgers and them would have put you down by 2 scores or a 2-point conversion. I don't know where I said that I'd rather have Dak throw the ball. In fact, I said we should have been running the ball to run out the clock. So I see you Eagles are coming out the woodwork, and none too bright.
Their day is coming because, again, they started 4-1, I think, last year.
Oh, yeah, they
thought they were going to be great.
Daniel, thanks a lot, man. The reason the channel's growing is because you're here every week, man, because you're part of those big numbers that I have because you're always here every week hating, man. But I appreciate it. 3-2 Viking. Oh, my God. What an ugly ass game. It's 3-2. Damn. Okay. We could have, guys, think about this. All you people that say that Dak Prescott's not the guy, we could have had Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford, who gets hurt just walking off the bus, So be thankful for what we have, If nothing else, our team is exciting and keeps you on the edge of your seat. Yes, it sucks after we lose, but you can't say that it's not exciting every freaking week.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, with the defense playing the way they're playing, Prescott is pretty much, in order to win, going to have to put up at least 40 points. But the idea that he's gotten pretty close, and like I said, it's not this guy isn't trying. It's not that this guy isn't using his ability. And for those guys who are saying that Romo was there, he'd do differently. Romo would already be down for the year. He'd be broken up badly, and that's not to disrespect Romo because he did the best he could also. But he couldn't handle this. He couldn't handle this rush now that's coming. There's no way he'd get out of some of this stuff.
Dak Prescott has a line and is throwing more picks than Eli without a line. I think Eli Manning, I think, has more than 4 interceptions here. I may have to look that one up real quick. I think I know he had at least a fumble and 2 interceptions yesterday alone. So I don't know what you're talking about, Chief.
Sounds like a butthurt Giants fan.
Well, no, he's an Eagle fan. They're coming out the woodwork right now.
Oh, man.
Giants versus the Browns in the toilet bowl. Yeah, that's the doo-doo brown bowl, without a doubt. Eli sucks. Got to agree with that one, Dave. Shingles, no trophies. How many pick six has Dak thrown? Not very many because he's only had 8 interceptions in his career. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's only 2, right? That are pick sixes?
Yep.
Only 2. Talib Khalib got the other one.
Yep.
Denver?
Yeah. I'm not going to say that Dak has been perfect, but I got to tell you, he gets more criticism than any other quarterback in the NFL. Like I said, Ben Roethlisberger had 5 interceptions yesterday. So,
yeah.
Eli Manning actually has 5 interceptions already this season and 8 touchdown passes. So, he actually has more interceptions. Thank you very much. Anyone protesting during the national anthem? I don't. They didn't show it, of course, on TV, but I don't think anybody did in Dallas. Did they?
No, they didn't. There was some talk that maybe a couple of Cowboys might wanted to raise the fist, but they were going to do it standing, though. I think
Okay.
that might be why Jerry was talking about it again.
Since this is the last 5 minutes of the show, I'm going to share something with you guys. Um, I am a black man, okay? And I'm old. Tomorrow's my 52nd birthday. And I have seen a lot in my
Hey,
life. Okay, I was born in 1965 at the Freeman Hospital. And the Freeman Hospital was actually a hospital for freed slaves. And that was the names of them, which is in Washington, D.C., even though we lived 25 miles away in Virginia, having to drive past 3 hospitals to get there. My good friend James Kane came up this weekend, and I took him over to the African American Museum, and so that way he could see a lot of the stuff in there. I had been in there before, basically the top 2 floors, which are sports memorabilia and musical stuff. But if you ever have the opportunity to go early and go start at the bottom and work your way up. Because when you start seeing some of the stuff that you see and understanding things like Emmett Till. Emmett Till was an 11-year-old child, lived in Chicago, and his mother moved them to Mississippi. He supposedly whistled at a white woman. And that night, 2 men came to his house. They took him away. They beat him to death, tied him to a fan, threw him into the water where his body, tied him in the water, or tied him to this fan with barbed wire, thinking that his body would never be recovered. The body was recovered and sealed up by the coroner, who said that this case was never to be opened. Mother took him back to Chicago, where the funeral home opened up the case, and she wanted to see her child. She started out at his feet and worked her way up till finally she got to his face, where his eye had actually been knocked out of his face and he was literally just brutalized. The funeral director said to her, "Do you want us to touch him up before the funeral?" And she said, "No, I want people to see what they did to my baby." So for 5 days, they had a viewing, glass over top of the child's body, and buried him. Her uncle witnessed the guys that came and picked him up, and he identified him in court, risking his own life and having to basically go into hiding. The 2 men who did this, the community raised $10,000 for him for their defense, and they weren't convicted. Within a year, they actually sold their story, admitting exactly what they did to this child. So this poor child never got justice. Lynching was a normal thing that happened to people. Towns were burnt down because, supposedly somebody said something to a white woman, and they literally burned down a whole town. Jack Johnson, fighter, 1900s. Blacks weren't allowed to fight whites, but because he became so good, they had the Great White Hope, and he ended up beating the Great White Hope, and it literally started off lynchings. Sports has always been a driver for change in this country. In the Olympics, we had the symbol because it wasn't about hating America. It was about trying to get a piece of America as well. And these protests aren't saying, fuck America. These protests aren't saying we hate the military. What it's saying is there are people who are being prosecuted, or people that are doing bad things to others that aren't getting prosecuted, and there's no justice for them. We'd like to have a conversation with it. We'd like to have a seat at the table. That's what this stuff's about. It's not about saying what they're saying it is. I fear for this country. I lived through being called nigger every day when I integrated in school. I thought that I would never have to tell my kids that if you're ever pulled over by police, make sure you have your hands on the steering wheel, you look straight ahead, you say, "Yes, sir," and pray that you get home at night. But these are realities that I face every day. I have been pulled over by 10 police cars and been there at gunpoint for doing absolutely nothing. I don't hate police. I don't hate people in the military. I don't hate white people. There's good white people. There's bad white people. There's good black people. There's bad white people. Only thing you can do is judge people by the goodness of their heart as an individual. And I just wish that we would be able to have conversations about that. I may have lost some of you guys. You might say, "Oh, you're just a racist," or whatever. I understand that. But this whole thing where everybody is taking sides and If you don't agree with me, it's the hell with you. I'm sorry. It bothers me as an American citizen because we've always been a melting pot of people. We've taken the best of every race and things like that and ideas, and that's why we became a great country. It wasn't one group that did this. It was all of us together. And I'm hoping that someday, somehow, some way, we get back to that. Sorry, PJ, you get the last word tonight.
Yes, and that is we're not dead. I know there's still several games to play. I know that defense looks scary, but here's the thing: we expect rookies to play like rookies. The thing is they're getting an early education first. If we sat them and wait until next year to trot them out there, they wouldn't be as far along as they're going to be now. So the silver lining is, Cowboy fans, hang in there. We got some good kids, and they're going to come along, and then we got some good leaders. Dak is a leader, Witten is a leader, and so is Sean Lee. So maybe these guys pull together. Maybe we do see a good run. Maybe there is a good peak that's coming, and maybe it happens in November and keeps going. But I'm going to keep my hope up. And Mark, man, thank you for everything that you just said. That was incredible. And by the way, the movie Thurgood Marshall is coming out next weekend. So if people don't know who he is, Google Thurgood Marshall and
There
go
you
see
go.
that film.
Again, I just want people to have a conversation again. Let's sit down and work out our differences as people as opposed to trying to just beat somebody down. I'm Mark Holmes. This is PJ. Check out PJ. PJ, tell people where they can find you.
That's right. They can find me on thevegabomber.com. I've got a YouTube channel and a Facebook page, all Vega Bomber. We talk a lot about movies, but as you can tell, I love Cowboys too.
Amen to that, man. Thanks for joining me tonight. Thank all of you guys for being here and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report. Don't worry, things will get better with our Cowboys. I promise. I still have faith. But we've got to hold them accountable and keep their foot to the fire if we want some change on our team. I will see you guys soon.